Oh, welcome everyone to this edition of First Thought Wrong, where our first thoughts are generally incorrect. As usual, I have Brian, I'm Johnny, and we have a special guest. Mark is with us today. How you doing?
Doing good.
It's good to see you. Mark and I have known each other for a very, very long time, and I'm very excited for him to share his story here today. I'm feeling very nostalgic, very nostalgic.
Why? Because I got my work boots on?
No, just because, old friends, we haven't seen each other in a while, and and when you know someone's past, and and it's motivating. You have a very motivating past, whether you think so or not.
Thank you.
You see somebody, and it's every time we see each other, we wind up talking about some of the stuff that I'm sure you're going to talk about. But the nostalgic essence is in the air. So how you doing, Brian? Everything good with you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am extremely well. Thank you for asking.
Good.
So Mark, you comfortable? You good?
Yeah, I'm comfortable.
Okay.
I'm nervous.
Good.
I don't know why.
That's good. Don't be nervous.
I love
nervous.
attention. I'm a recovering drug addict.
Don't be nervous. One of my favorite things about Mark is he is one of the loudest, most Chicagoan people I've ever met in my entire life. He's got the epitome of the Chicago accent, and I'm sure
really?
you do. A couple Tootsie Bears, have a sausage sandwich, and
But I'm Irish. I'm not.
You are not Irish.
I'm Irish and Mexican. I'm not Chicagoan at all.
He plays the bagpipes, dude.
That's nationality. That's not, Democrat.
Oh, sorry.
All right, so
Anyway.
so let's talk. Tell us your story.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's talk about 21 years
right.
ago.
All right. Well, where do I start? Yeah. Well, I'm 48, 21 years ago. I'm bad with numbers. I don't know what to say.
I bring up 21 years ago because that's when we met.
Yeah, you threw me off. The red door. Bunch of old timers with their white New Balance shoes. I was on crutches. I don't know. I was like 8 surgeries into my fall. I don't know.
Well, let's go back.
So-
tell us your story. Tell us
tell us
growing
the
up
story.
and
Growing up. I'm the youngest of 4. Mom and dad been together my whole entire life. Mom just passed roughly a year ago to the date on the 23rd.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
No, I appreciate that. Mom was the rock, but mom and dad, youngest. I was youngest of 4. I thought we had really good life. Yeah, life was good. Had some unexpected things happen to me when I was a kid, when I was young, and never got help for it. The proper help. I don't think there's any help that you can give somebody when that happens to you as a kid. I think I just held on to that throughout my life. I played football. I took all my anger out on the football field. I was a psychopath on the football field. I like to think I was pretty good, but once I got to high school, I sucked. But then again, Donovan McNabb was, who he is. I did beat him, though, in grade school. Yeah, as I got older, parties at the house, alcohol was always around. Family was a big thing with us. I mean, God, I miss those days. I really do. I really wasn't a big guy into drugs and drinking until high school. After high school, I went to Florida, got an elevator business. And again, I never really got treatment for what happened to me as a kid. I held on to that. I still hold on to it. I don't know why. Because I haven't gotten help for it, I guess, right? The proper help. So as I got older, got married at a young age, came home from Florida with a marijuana and a crack problem and a great job. I love drugs because for once I didn't have to live with what had happened to me, who I became, and where I was going in my life, I guess. I had no direction. Again, I had a great family. I mean, mom and dad. I mean, Got married, young age, and started drinking, doing drugs. Like I said, weed and cocaine, actually. Crack was once in a while. Um, I had my first daughter when I came home from Florida, bought a house. I mean, I was 20, 96, I got in the elevator business. But I was always like into being a fireman and working on cars, race cars. I was really active. I still don't know why I started doing drugs. Pure pressure? I don't know, because I hated it. It was really against it. My grandpa was a full-blown alcoholic. My mom struggled with some stuff. Probably going to get shit for saying that. Sorry, Mom. But it is what it is. It's the truth. But yeah, I got married, had some kids, and right around 2004. Well, I've been in and out of treatment up until then, too. Let me get that out there. I thought that Wyman Gordon was a good place to go. Mom sent me there once. It didn't work. And then I got sober for a brief moment. I think maybe you and I might have ran it. Well, that was after the accident. So 2004, I fell down an elevator shaft. You would think that was going to stop me from, trying to kill myself with drugs. But nah, it didn't work.
Well, let's back up. Hang on.
Sorry.
This is where I want to, because I mean,
I got ADHD. Does that help?
It's not every day you talk with somebody that fell 35 feet down an elevator shaft. Broke half their body.
Yeah, it was.
And then lived to tell about it. So this is big, and this is one of the nostalgic things that I was talking about. Because I got sober in January of 2004. I started going to the Red Doors that you were just talking about in March of 2004, and stayed there for many, many years. So I met you very soon after that. So before your accident is when we initially met. Mm-hmm. So let's go from there. Let's talk about, you were in recovery, mm-hmm. and then the accident happened. What happened? How do you manage to fall 35 feet down an elevator shaft?
He believed he could fly.
That's copyrighted. I'm kidding. Gosh. So November 2nd, 2004, it was a Tuesday. My boss was on the job. I'm a helper in the business. Re-rigging an electric hoist in an overhead. It was a 3-stop hydro, but it was a 20,000-pound freight car, so it was pretty big size. I'm at the top of the hoistway. Like I said, my boss was there, and I'm re-rigging the hoist, and I'm getting ready to climb down the scaffold, and some birds had flew in, which we had told the contractor for months, hey, there's a hole at the top of the hoistway. I mean, at one point it was snowing in the hoistway, and it wasn't snowing the kind that I used to like to have in the hoistway. Anyway, just lost my footing, the birds came flying in, startled me, and all I remember is I had gloves on, and I don't really wear gloves at the time. I do now. I remember grabbing the scaffold on the way down, and I woke up and I was, I don't know, pretty mangled up and coming in and out of consciousness a couple times. My mechanic at the time, John Neely, good guy, jumps in the pit. I go, dude, I was a fireman for years. So, I mean, should have been a fireman, but elevators paid more. Jumps in the pit. Oh my God, how bad is it? He goes, your leg. I had landed on my left leg, blew out both legs. I landed on my left leg. By the time I came to, I was laying on my stomach, and my left leg was bent, but my foot was laying flat on my butt cheek. So you can only imagine, right? The bones came. The bones came through bones came through everywhere. It was a mess. John jumps in the pit. He goes, oh my God, there's blood everywhere. I go, John, now this is how goofy I am, right? Like, imagine that. John, don't let me die in this pit, because, I was a drug addict. I needed to go get some more shit, is what I was probably thinking more than anything. Even though I had tried to be sober for a little while, I thought that was going to fix me. He jumps in, ties a tourniquet around my leg, saves my leg. And, it was a rough road coming back, 8 surgeries. I didn't walk for like a year and a half. it was crazy. You know, God was trying to do what I couldn't do for myself. At the time, I didn't know that. Yeah, because I continued. You know, when they say your addiction's working out and it's doing its thing while you're trying to not do it. Yeah, it was working out, and I started right back where I left off, crutches and all. And I tried a couple more times after that to get sober. That was November 2nd, 2004. Was renting some houses, had some kids. Obviously, I was married still. '07, God blessed me with $1,617,000. It was like 2.617. You know, the lawyer got to get his cut. Yeah. Makes you wonder why we're. Anyway, I buy a beautiful house in Doubletree, you know. Was the best Christmas of my kids' lives, right? I still got the one dirt bike still today. The little 50 dirt bike. I still got Tyler's dirt bike. Almost lost it once to a guy in the Heights. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, I 2007 was the best Christmas of the kids' lives, right? 4-wheelers, dirt bikes. We had the house in Doubletree, and Dad's getting the trap house in Markham, Harvey area. And my dad loves me to death, right? I like I said, I had some great parents. He sends the SWAT team in to get me in Markham. And that still didn't change me, but it fucked me up for the rest of the time getting high, because every time I got high, they were coming to get me. I don't know why that sounds, I had to share that, but anyway, yeah, '07, '08, I mean, it was just, by 2012, I was broke. My basement filled up with water. Now, I live in Doubletree Estates. It's a gated community. I mean, Bernard Carter, prosecuting state's attorney, was my neighbor. That's great, you know. Hey, Bernard, bye, going to meet the guy at this McDonald's to get some drugs. I mean, there was a little pond. We'd fill the bucket up to take a piss in the bath. It was bad. Sold the house, got divorced 2012, and I'm running the streets, living in hotels. I got my Harley still that I don't know how I didn't die on that thing numerous times. And for the longest time, I had a $70,000 check I held on to because my dad wouldn't take it at the time. Chase Bank, I hate banks. They didn't really want to cash it, but I didn't have nowhere to put it, and I didn't really want to cash it. I didn't want it because money was evil at that point. Like, you know, I used to tell my ex-wife, as soon as it's gone, it's gone. I can't wait. It's over. I really thought that was the problem. See how sick I was? So yeah, I had this check, and then I'm going to these hotels. I put the check in the safety deposit box at the one hotel in Maryville, and they thought I was crazy. And I got arrested at Motel 6. I was on a bender 7 days straight. And they had to wake me up to make me leave, and I had drugs on me. You know, I didn't know where the hell I was at. They take me to jail. I get out. They had to wake me up to let me go. That's how bad it was. Like, and my girlfriend at the time, Jen, or my friend at the time, Jen, she was trying to get recovery. She went to Arizona, and I'm like, I'm leaving. I go, this is it. I'm gonna go to Arizona. I don't know anybody. You know, it's gonna work. And prior to that, I went to California once, $30,000 out of my pocket when I had money. 3 days later, I was out, you know, running the streets. Like I said, my mom tried getting me into Wyman Gordon. It didn't work. Everybody wanted me to get sober, but Mark didn't want to get sober.
Yep.
I still didn't like who I was. And I sure didn't love who I was. So I go to Arizona. I get a flight to Arizona. And we stayed in Arizona. Where's Jen at today? She'd tell me my days because, you know, women remember that shit. I don't remember. I don't even remember what today is. Tuesday. And we're doing good for a short period of time, you know. There it is. the one and only time I'm going to say, we're going to a recovery program. I meet this Irish guy. He gets us our little condo. It was good. He was my sponsor at the time. And Jen starts this job, whatever. She starts going backwards. I start going backwards. I think I died that time in Arizona. Thank God Jen was there. I died twice. Well, 3 times if you include the fall. And it just wasn't, we ended up leaving Arizona, coming back. We lived in a hotel here. Was at maybe like 12 into 13. So yeah, like right around 13. March 22nd, 2014 is my clean days. So from 13 to then, we lived in the hotels in Maryville. It was rough, which I thought was fun, but it was now I look back now, it was bad. It was rough. I was at the lowest I think I've ever been in my entire life. And then my kids. I signed off my rights to my mom and dad for my kids. I'm still, for some odd reason, thought I was going to be a dad. That cunning, baffling, and powerful. It's, I got this. I can be a dad. No. So the program taught me that, well, not that program, but DCS's program taught me that if I get treatment, one-time shot, I might get a chance to not only get my life back, but I can see my kids, There it is, twice. My brother-in-law, Steve Lugo, he's the man. He picks me up at the hotel. I still to this day don't know how I got in. I was high as shit going down to Indy. I get to Indy. I remember walking in the door and he just looks at me like this thing. He's full of shit. There it is. Damn it. Go to rehab. I'm in detox. So I'm March 22nd. Chris Hayes is a really, really good friend of mine. I met him a couple of days into rehab or into detox. And, my character defect is to help others. I would rather see you succeed than myself. If I still do have that problem today, I just deal with it. And Chris was like, I can't do it. I'm ready to go. And he was alcoholic. I love drugs, Sorry.
So just so you know, what Mark is talking about here, he keeps counting how many times you say because the first podcast that Brian Austin and I did, Mark watched and he sends me a message. He sends me a message and he says, "Man, it was really good. I enjoyed it, But how many times do you say So now that he's talking and counting his own I do not feel bad at all.
So if you don't know, now you know.
Now you know.
You know?
Wait, was I supposed to make you feel bad?
That's what you've been trying to do.
Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
I mean, I cried a little bit, but that's okay.
There it is, the truth. I know where your Versace are.
Okay, so
all right,
so 2004, we fall down an elevator shaft, 35 feet.
Yeah.
Most people would die from that.
Yeah, I would have to say. In fact, I've done some research, and I don't know why. I think because the way I landed, honestly, on my feet, and on the way down, I slowed myself down. I guess I don't know. I'm not an engineer.
4 stories. That's just crazy. So,
Yeah.
you're rehabilitating,
Yep.
many surgeries, and 2007 you get your big settlement check. You got a ton of money and an addict. And 2012, all the money's gone.
Oh yeah.
And that brings us to 13, and your brother-in-law takes you to Indy.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about that.
Harbor Lights.
Harbor Lights.
Yeah.
Shout out to Harbor Lights.
What the heck was that? No, that was the halfway house on Tibbs. Anyways, Harbor Lights, Miss Aura, bless your heart. Miss Aura was the mom that I never knew I had. Beautiful lady. Harbor Lights saved my life. And I say that because in all reality, I didn't really have a life to be saved from. all reality. I think that's the way I look at it now. Chris Hayes had a big deal to do with it. Chris Hayes, Johnny Hayes. What's up with the Hayes? It doesn't. I don't think he sounds the same way. That's weird. I just thought about that. And we're still friends to this day. Me and Chris and I, he was great friends. And I just had, when I was tired, I was tired. I didn't have nothing else to live for. Like death was right around the corner. I used to read the Bible when I'd be in the hotel. Job's. My spirit is broken. The grave is ready for me, or some shit like that. I used to get high and read that, like, oh, it's gonna save me. Yeah. So Harbor Lights, I start the process of recovery. Jamie Brown, phenomenal guy, jokester, just like me, but he was raw. Good guy from New York. Recovery, and he was one of our buddy teachers that I learned the basics from, but he would teach it on my level, joking around. Because I don't really take a lot of stuff serious. Everything's got to be a joke to me in order for me to get through life. I think that's got to do with something that happened to me when I was a kid. I don't know what, but we'll get to that anyway. So yeah, Harbor Lights. I'm 2 weeks in detox, and then you go to the next level, which you're still locked down for 2 weeks, and then you go into residential. Yeah. Then Jen comes down. Poor Jen, she stayed in the car. She lived in that car, I want to say 6 days before she was actually able to get a bed. And you're not supposed to have a girlfriend, and we weren't girlfriend and boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like that was. We were, but we weren't. We were never really boyfriend and girlfriend. We used together. I mean, she could tell her side of the story, but I cared about her, and I really wanted her to get help. And she did. She's doing great. Our daughter Addie's over there. But I had to, I had to learn a lot about myself at Harbor Lights. I'm not the funniest one in the room. I'm not unique. I don't know everything about how to do life itself. I mean, I had to be told to take a bath, brush my teeth.
Yeah.
And I had to do it the way they told me, because if I did it any way different, then I would take control of that, and then I would win. And that's how simple it had to be for me. I've been in and out of treatment before, never listened, never followed direction. Take the cotton out, and where are you supposed to put it? Somewhere, right? Kidding, I know what it says. And Jennifer and I are passing a note back and forth. Right now she's in the program, I'm in the program, I'm doing good. I get kicked out because you're not supposed to pass notes. And Jen gets kicked out. Oh, this is like 30 days in. I got nowhere to go. Now, how am I supposed to explain this to my kids that I got kicked out of rehab, trying to get custody of you guys, passing a note? Well, so I take my bag of stuff. I go to Agape House, and Agape gives me 2 weeks, halfway house. You got to get a job. Now, again, I don't fit in at Agape House, right? Because all these cool kids, they got their shit together. No job. I looked. I tried. Chris is running me around. Chris is a crazy driver, by the way. And I get kicked out of Agape House. I'm 30, 40 days sober. Garbage bag of just whatever I have left, Sorry. I'm trying. I go stay at a homeless shelter in downtown Indy. And I have my wallet, which I thought was a cool wallet at the time. It was all I had. And my shoes. Now, my grandpa was a full-blown alcoholic, was homeless. And I never got closure with my grandpa because he died. And I was supposed to go see him, but, everything else was more important. And so I'm there. And all I could think of was like, man, this is what it was like for my grandpa. And I have every reason and every opportunity to just say, fuck it, right? I'm gonna go get high. That's my best thinking in my life up until March 22nd, 2014 was get high. Stub my toe, get high.
Yeah.
Fucking wind's blowing, get high.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy how, yeah. Anyway, so 2 days in the homeless shelter, our brother's place. John C., if you're out there, bless your heart. Great man. John C. has been through hell and back, has done everything he can possible to help the recovering addict in this program. I really believe that. Some of the partners he's had, maybe not so well. But John C., you're the man. Thank you. Gives me an opportunity to get to the halfway house. I think I was like almost $800 or $900 behind in rent. Another friend of mine in the program. I'm going to IOP at Harbor Lights. I'm doing this, right? 90 and 90. I'm not giving up. And I don't know why. Still don't know why. Why didn't I give up? Homeless. I got a garbage bag in my own. That's all. I got nothing. I mean, that's the perfect reason to get high, I thought, right? Whatever happened at Harbor Lights and detox, whatever was instilled in my brain at that little bit of clarity. Because again, I'm still new. There's your brain doesn't clear. My brain is still foggy. Our brother's place, I'm living in a halfway house. Bruce is my house manager. Good old Bruce. Again, make your bed, do a chore, go to a meeting. It was that simple. Get up, make your bed, go to a meeting. Get up, make your bed, go to a meeting. The job wasn't really that big of a deal, thank God. I mean, but I was still thought, I mean, I had, so I started working at Applebee's. Jen's working at Applebee's. I'm washing dishes at Applebee's. And I was a fireman. I built elevators for a living. I've been on championship race teams. I'm just washing dishes. You want to talk about getting humble? And then the worst part about that is they start talking Spanish to me, and I'm like, what? Jen, what are they saying? She doesn't know, a little bit. Paquito, that's all I know. Baños, the bathroom. Yeah. Scott Barrett was another job, packaging baby food. Charles was a big part of my recovery. He got me in it doing landscape work. Lord in landscape. My Mexican heritage, my true color. I come out. Nope. I sucked at that too. But I did it because it was good money. And then eventually I started working on the guy's equipment, his trucks. 2014, 15, I get the call. So now keep in mind, the entire time I think this is the big part of why I stayed sober too, is I got to take a drug test once or twice a week for DCS.
That accountability for sure.
Yeah, right.
What it sounds like to me, though, because I just heard you within the last 5 minutes shout out a lot of people, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of critical people in your life.
Big time.
That were willing to bet on you when you weren't willing to bet on yourself.
And they didn't even know who I was.
And you asked the question of, I don't know why I didn't get high, because that would have been a perfect opportunity. And like you said, you have no problem wanting somebody else to succeed, right?
Yeah.
But you're hard on yourself. And I think all those critical people that you just named, you were willing to, if it was just you, you would have let yourself down, no problem. But it was all these people who believed in you that you finally didn't want to let down. I think that was one of the things that probably gave you the motivation to get where you're at today.
For sure. Yeah, I don't know. That makes a lot of sense. The cool part about it, though, is Chris, Spencer. He's got two names, Spencer, Charles. That's one of them funny guys. I want to have two names. Charles used to always tell me, I'll drive you to the crack house. You want to get high? Because I had moments, Dave was another one. He was my sponsor. He's the one who, hey, can you pick me up for the meeting? No, take the bus. You did you ever take the bus or walk to get high? Oh, I took a snowmobile to get high once. Kidding me? Yeah. And Dave, that was our big thing. Dave's another recovery. I hope I don't get in trouble for mentioning these guys' names. Sorry. I don't think it's going to matter, though. But, yeah, so I'm in Harbor Lights. I get a call. So now keep in mind, my mom and dad, bless their hearts, they would come down every other weekend, pick me up, or I would take the Greyhound bus because I'd come see my kids. I'd get my visits. Things are going great. I'm going to court. I'm going through it. I'm doing it, right? Got my meeting sheets. I think I did well over 90 meetings in 90 days because that's all I did. I worked and went to meetings. It was was simple. Life was so simple. I come back home, 2015. I'm back in the elevator. John Vallone. John Vallone's a business rep out of Local 2. Great guy, great brother. John Brolick, another one, like a father. And they're not going to let me back in the union because I was a bad guy. Imagine me being bad right now. I didn't like to follow direction. Who are you to tell me what to do? I'm Mark motherfucking Lemus.
I got all the answers.
I know it all. 45 minutes later, John comes out and says, "You got one shot. Don't fuck this up." And I'm like, all right, I think I got this, right? And I got back in the elevator business. I had a moment there Redwood was doing my drug screens. Now I'm living in Lansing. I'm working way up on the north side of Chicago, and I'm telling this guy, listen, I'm not gonna make it home. It's a Monday or Tuesday. I gotta take 2 drug screens now. I can't tell you how many times the other half either had a false negative or just didn't pass. I'm like a year and a half deep into this process, with my kids. System's fucked up. Sorry. It's terrible. I missed one screen, but I didn't. That was on a Monday or Tuesday. That Thursday or Friday it was. That same week, I did another one, right? I passed. They wanted to nail me to the cross in court because of that. And Judge Stefaniak, the great man that he is, he said, "Are we done micromanaging Mr. Lemus's life? I think we're done." Like, poor Jen had to have a background check, and she's being, long story short, the way things unfolded, and now I'm living across the street from the Red Door. I get custody of my kids. I'm living in a 1-bedroom apartment. Mike Booter, bless your heart. It was the best time of my life, though. It was the smallest, most simplest. Live in the basement. I'm paying bills. I got my driver's license back. I got my job back. I'm actually, I got a job where I'm not called sometime or part-time. That was my nickname.
Yeah.
And I like who I'm. I don't know if I loved who I was yet, because I still don't know if I love myself like I'm supposed to. But I felt like a little bit of left behind because my family, my foundation, my recovery was in Indy. Like I didn't. It was kind of weird how it all just unfolded. It just was real quick, and I tried to go to meetings here and there. 15, 16, and 17. I switched companies. Imagine that. Like I was that good at what I was doing for once in my life. And I got a phone call to go work for Kone at the steel mill. And started chasing money. And then life got real busy. I got my 2 kids, custody of my 2 kids. We got Addie. We got, Jen's living. I moved Jen back up from Indy. We're we're still a happy family. It's the greatest family in the world. And I'm living across the street from the Red Door. I'm like, this is a sign. I got to go to meetings. Let's go. Well, the Red Door doesn't have meetings no more. It's owned by somebody else. Jason brings me to a couple meetings around the area. Margie, I ran into Margie in Griffith. Johnny, I think I've seen you a couple times. I feel bad to even talk like this, but it's the truth. I lost connection with the program. I'm 11 years sober. March 22nd was my 11-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And you know what the saddest part about me is I would stay away because I didn't know people in the program around here. When I really did. I do know people. But it wasn't the same. It wasn't my people. wasn't my foundation. I go back to Indy, and it's like, I've never been a king anywhere, but I feel like I'm feel important. And around here, I'm Mark Lemus. And people that know me, they know I'm sober. They know I work a program. I have numerous people call me hey, can you help this one? Yeah, absolutely. But I feel bad because I lost contact with that side of recovery. The maintenance stage is what they call it, right? No excuses. Jen, bless your heart, she keeps me grounded. I could never come home and say, "Oh, I'm not high," because But here's the thing: today, I have a choice. I have plenty of money in my pocket. I have friends. I can honestly say today, and it's not just today. It's been a while. I don't want to get high. That obsession that I thought never ever would go away, that craving, that fear of, oh my God, I got to live with this fucking asshole today. Yeah. No, I'm good. I could say, yeah, if I want to go get high, I'll go get high. I'll walk out of here right now and go get high. I don't want to. I can honestly say with a clear-minded head, not the old thinking and dumb thinking, that I'm okay with who I am today. I would like, certain things to be, a little bit in shape. Wish I had 100 pairs of shoes like Donnie. I don't have Louis. But, dude, I have a simple life. My kids are grown. I get an opportunity to raise our daughter. She's 9. And I'm reliving those moments of a sober dad with a daughter who has no idea what a drug addict father is. All she knows is the stories that she hears. And I openly tell her she knows, because that's going to be her choice. If she wants to stay sober or she may not be sick like I am. I was born with a gene that unfortunately allowed me to run, what do they call that? When you run rag, there's something.
Run riot.
Run riot. There it is. I knew you could have it.
Mark, I'm telling you, dude, your story is so amazing to me. It's so amazing. It really is. And maybe it's because I've known you for so long and seen so many different sides of it, And when we both, were very young and were at the Red Doors, it was all older people, And, so you and I being around the same age and the same amount of sobriety, it was awesome, but there were differences, and big time differences, and I see all of your progressions, and when you used to come back and then you'd be gone and then you'd come back, and when you came to the meeting on the crutches, and you wanted it then, you did, but you didn't like the older people. You didn't want to go and sit and have coffee until midnight. And
I didn't drink coffee. I drink coffee every day now.
I ate cheesecake. I
like cheesecake.
I liked it. The strawberry cheesecake saved my life. I swear, every night at the Commander eating I gained 75 pounds that first year, but I stayed sober. It's the desire to stay sober versus the desire to get high. And once I input those negative thoughts into my head, like, oh, these guys are too old. I don't want to hang out with these guys anymore. Once those negative thoughts come into my mind, they become a reality. And, then the desire to get high becomes more than the desire to stay sober. And, going through your life, your progression and the downward spirals and all that stuff, when you hit that bottom, then you said the word, it was a magic word that you said when you got down to Indy and the stuff that you had to do, it was humble. We have to become humble. Humility is the key to staying sober. And, if I'm not humble, I'm not going to get a higher power. Nope. Because I'm the higher power. Everything I do and say is right and everybody else is wrong. And, until I gain some humility and actually can get that higher power that, You know, the whole premise of the program, you know, and it doesn't matter which program it is we're talking about. They're all higher power based, and you have to have something that's bigger than you, and something you can love, something you can trust. And for a long time,
you got to listen to it.
for a long time, for me, it was the people. Those guys at the Red Doors that were, you know, I loved them. I trusted them. They guided me into my life that I have today. You know, it was Brian T., who, old timer, who, dude was so slick. He was my favorite guy in the universe. I'm telling you, he was this old timer, and he wore these like khaki pants, and he would put his cigarettes in his sock, so he didn't mess up his pants, dude. And you know, and he was the one that pushed me to go to school, pushed me to go into advertising, he pushed me into everything, you know. And the meetings, the groups were my higher power until I, you know, eventually created a relationship with God. Who,
because in the beginning, I don't think you believed in
not
God.
at all. Not at all.
What do they call them? Atheists or something?
Well, I was a recovering Catholic.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Agnostic.
and Catholicism's a beautiful religion. I'm not down
Yeah, if
in
you like
anything
drinking
about.
wine and never mind.
I'm not down in Catholicism.
Nah,
I just heard if I sinned, I had to tell on myself. If I didn't tell on myself, I went to hell. All right, give me a first class ticket. I'm good.
We're here.
That I didn't hear about this loving God and this blah blah. I didn't hear it. I heard confession, and I didn't like it. So, and you know, I got away from the church when I was 6 years old, and I got sober at 26, and you know, so here I am, 26 years old, with the idea of a higher power and God and all that stuff as a 6-year-old. You know, so it took a lot of maturing, but I just knew that I didn't have the answers, and I didn't like who I was, and it's same thing happened with you, and you know, I'm so proud of you, dude.
Thank you.
I really am. I'm really proud of you. You know, you've lived a life, and you've come out on top, and not everybody can say that, you know, and the story that you have, and the reason I wanted you to come on here is, you know, there's a Macklemore song that I talk about a lot. It's called Starting Over. And at the very end of the song, he says, if I can be an example of getting sober, then I can be an example of starting over. You know, and the life that you led, and you led it, and you had to restart in 2015. And here you are today, kicking ass, taking names, you know, and, you know, you had to start over. You started over a few times, and this was the one that stuck, and this is the one that, you know, you're still going strong with. It's so awesome, you know. It's the power of perseverance, you know. Just keep going. Just keep going. Everything's going to be okay. Just got to put one foot in front of the other, one bus in front of the next, you know.
Thanks, Dave.
You know, and you know, and the fellowship that you had, the story that you tell with all your guys, you know, and those guys are everywhere.
Absolutely.
Those guys are everywhere. Every meeting I went to, and every meeting I still go to 3 or 4 a week. You know, at 21 years sober, I still go to 3 or 4 meetings a week, because I need to be that guy. I need to be the guy that's there for the newcomer. And
Sometimes we go to get fed, but a lot of times now we go to do the feeding.
you know, it's absolute.
But my
that's
problem is I'm
100%.
so happy at home. Like, I've never. I used to always get high. I'd argue with my wife at the time just so I could leave home, because I was so unhappy at home. I love my life today. It's crazy. I can't believe I'm saying that. I do.
You know what stood out when you were talking a minute ago, John? You said, you know, you talked about like the old guys going out from the Red Door to get coffee, and you're like, I don't want to go with those old guys. And I thought about it, like, even if I didn't like them, if they had a bag of dope, I was going to hang out with those guys, right?
Matter.
So, like, that's the perspective I had to have approaching my recovery, right? Because I was willing to do whatever it was, hang out with a bunch of people I didn't like, that treated me bad or I treated them bad to get a bag of dope. So I got to be willing to do the same thing when it comes to my recovery. I'm not going to like everybody. Everybody's not going to like me. But shit, it's saving my life one day at a time. I better be willing to do some things that are uncomfortable. So that's what I've done in my recovery. And I attend a lot of meetings still. It's not to not use drugs today for me. It's to, like I said, sometimes I got to be the one feeding and not always getting fed. But as long as I stay connected, if I'm entrenched in the pack, it's harder to walk away because I got to get through people, right?
Accountability.
But if I stay on the outside of the pack, it's easy for me to slip away and nobody notice, right? So, that's what I do. I also wanted to say, you said you chase money a lot now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you really think you're chasing money or you're running from yourself in some kind of way?
That's a good question. I've always valued money my entire life. I remember at a young age, you can't have that. My parents, I wanted a four-wheeler and dirt bikes. No, we're not buying that for you.
Yeah.
But they would buy me spikes and a basketball. Yep. Okay, well, how do I get that? Well, go get a job. 11 years old, I'm hustling to get, you know what I mean? Stupid stuff. I was 14. I bought my first car. I was in the garage. I told my dad it was John Brolix. It was mine. I sold that car for crack, but it was 79 Chinese. Anyway, I think financial security is what I'm chasing, is the word I want to use now. And don't get fooled. I'm not smart by any ways. I just know how to work. And if you work, you get paid. And if you're smart enough to make enough, you save a little, you get ahead. I mean, I'm in a workman's comp case right now. I broke my collarbone at work and I haven't gotten a paycheck since December 24th. I'm freaking out a little bit, but then I have Jen and the power of above that put me here in this chair right now to give me some sense of grounding and say, wait a minute, just slow down. You're okay. And everything's going to be okay. But I do obsess about money. Yeah. I have old money on my walls in my house. I don't know why. Financial security, it's a big thing for me. Who's going to take care of me? I mean, I know Jen's listening. She's out there. She does good. I've never had that in my life. I've always been the provider. I've always, even getting high and running the street. I mean, I might have strapped a TV or two to my Harley and went to the heights, but that was the addiction.
But like you said earlier, right? It's. I think we get caught up being men, like we're the provider and we got to be this. And again, you said earlier, you like others to succeed, but don't care about you. You like to be the caregiver, the caretaker, right? Why not appreciate somebody that's willing to take care of you, though? Because you matter too, right?
I do. Here's what it is. This is 100% from the heart. I fix things. And for the longest time, I still struggle with fixing Mark. But I can't fix Mark. I have to rely on the program and the people around me to guide me on how to do that. Because my fixing was to get high. My best thinking, get high. I don't have those thoughts today. My best thinking says go to work, make money. I don't know. But in a nutshell, it's like, I don't know how to accept somebody fixing me. Or like Jen and I argue about it at home with the money and stuff. Well, give me this bill, give me that bill. Or she has to fight me for it. I'm like, what am I doing? Just pay it. Why? It's character defect.
You just said fix you.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to be fixed, dude. You need to be supported. You've got people in your life that are willing to support you. Just allow them to support you. It's not like something's wrong with Mark and needs to be fixed. People just care about you, dude.
Absolutely.
That does bring us to the final kind of topic for today, and that's treatment. You bring up people that helped you, and you've brought up so many different names of people that you've loved and helped you and stuff like that, and that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And the power of treatment, the power of the community of treatment, and detox, rehab, the sober livings, the halfway house, the 3/4 house, all the different opportunities that are out there today. They're important. They are
Huge.
extremely important.
Huge.
I never went to a rehab or a detox. I did my detox in 3 days in the lovely Hammond jail, without a blanket on concrete, and that was a good time. And then I just parked my ass at a meeting every day for 2 years.
Never been to treatment for that.
I was never
didn't know
at
that.
treatment, but I see, how, especially in your story, because you did the same thing that I did. You did, run to meetings and then leave, and then run to meetings and then leave. And now you went to treatment and you did the whole kick can and caboodle, and how important that was for you, and how life-changing that was for you, and how beautiful of an experience that led to where you are today, which is awesome. And
If you had a crystal ball back then and you would have said, in 2025, you're going to be on a podcast, I'd have looked at you like, what? You're fucking crazy.
And if I had a crystal ball and in 2025 I said I'm going to church, oh my goodness, that would have been crazy. I can't believe where life is taking me.
Recovery's beautiful.
It is, but it's simple.
Yeah.
It is so simple. I look back now and I laugh at myself. Like, you claim to be this guy that fixes things, and I'm not that good at fixing things, let's be honest. But if it was so easy to fix, why did I complicate it? It is the most simplest to shut up and listen to what you're being told. I can't follow direction. That's my problem.
Yeah, well, you did follow directions.
I
You
did.
did. You did.
Thank God.
And
Grace to God.
so we are. Our sponsor is Never Alone Recovery.
Nice.
This is Brian's got a mug that he made himself. He forged the steel for them. So why don't you talk about Never Alone Recovery for a minute?
So, Never Alone Recovery, we're a free resource to those struggling with addiction, whether you have no insurance, state insurance, private insurance through an employer, or you want to pay cash. We have a hotline. The number is 1-855-831-9996. We're a resource. We help people find sober living, treatment, inpatient, outpatient, therapy, detox. We can connect all those dots to you. Like I said, complimentary and free to you. Give us a call if you're struggling. We can help.
What's the number?
1-855-831-9996.
See, I think that's so big. So big. I mean, I wish I had known a phone number back in the day, because I didn't even. I got out of jail.
Payphones back in your day.
Hey, we did. Hey, you're a year older than me, so you can you can't make old man jokes. Brian can make old man jokes, but you can't make old man jokes. I didn't have a number to call. No. I didn't know. I mean, it's funny because half of my family had gone through Wyman Gordon. I went to Alateen at Wyman Gordon, which for people who don't know is a rehab in Ingalls, which is where I was born. And,
me too.
So that's I didn't know about a phone number. My grandmother sent me to my first meeting, and and my mom took me. And it was amazing, and that was the beginning. But had I known about a phone number that said, hey, you can go to detox and rehab and all that for free, shit, I might have looked into it,
I paid $30,000 to go to a place in California for 3 days.
$30,000?
Never got a dime back.
No. And that was a rehab?
Yes, sir.
And you only went for 3 days?
Was there for 3 days. Yeah. First and only time I've been to LAX.
$10,000 a day, man.
Yeah.
That's classy joint, huh?
Yeah, it was. All I remember is a massage. I used to get like this massage or something. I don't remember. It was weird.
Yeah, I'm
Side of
telling
a hill.
you, there's so many different detoxes and rehabs. I mean, in this area alone, I know of 3 different, inpatient rehab facilities and another couple of detox centers, that, then ship you to. And then there's a ton of halfway houses. There's so much recovery around here. And, and now it's our job to be there for the new person.
You know what's tough though about the rehab stuff is I live in Waterside Crossing, Crown Point. I don't know exactly what hospital it is. If it's regional or Methodist. It's one of the hospitals. They own a house on the next block over, and you see this stupid post. Oh, they're in their garage working out with their shirts off. I'm like, you people, you gotta give us a chance. Until it's one of your kids or, God forbid, it's your brother or your kid, that they don't understand. Like,
well, and the thing is, right, because I know the one you're speaking of.
Okay.
My girlfriend actually works at that facility
nice.
that owns that house. And a lot of the community members feel like, I don't want them people in our neighborhood.
Right.
And my thought, they're in your neighborhood already. At least they're seeking help.
The best part is we go online. Well, we're in recovery, and your kids are in our pool right now.
Yeah.
Like that's the moment I'm really, really proud of.
Yeah.
Because it's the stigma we get.
Addiction affects everybody.
It's happy, sad, rich, or poor. It don't matter.
Doesn't matter. Affects us all, whether you're a judge, a lawyer, cop, the homeless guy around the corner. Addiction cares none about how much money's in your pocket.
Ain't that the truth?
Wait, you got money in your pocket?
I don't. That's what I'm saying.
Even if you got $2 million in your pocket.
Yeah.
$2 million, and then that's a lot of crack to smoke.
That's $2 million.
Oh, the attorney took some.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks again thanks for being here, bro.
Yeah.
I think that this has been phenomenal, and I
Huge.
really think that
Proud of you guys. This is
Thank you.
was never around when you and I started. That's for sure.
No, definitely not. And I hope that anybody who needs to hear your message hears it and can anybody can be better than you. That's simple.
Absolutely.
Recovery is possible, folks.
It works.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.